That yawn was not staged in this voice memo. How do I put myself to sleep when I can't get to sleep? I don't often have a hard time falling asleep. The opposite is more accurate. I have a hard time staying awake. But on those rare occasions when I can't get to sleep, that's how I know something is really wrong. And in those moments, the technique or tactic that I use is just to give up, to not try to put myself to sleep, to stop resisting the urge to sleep. I just get up and putter around the house, or read, or make a cup of tea, or do something, anything other than try to sleep. And I don't know that I learned that from someone or from somewhere. If I had to guess, I would say that I learned it from my partner, who is like a savant of all things sleep, because he has a really hard time sleeping. He's like a confirmed insomniac. But he also doesn't need that much sleep. So I don't know how accurate his advice is. But that's my advice. Don't fight it. Just make good use of the time. Good night. And good luck.
Often when I can't sleep, I try to take a journey through my own mind and try to feel okay with whatever comes up, and just let my mind run and run and run until it can't run anymore, and I drift into absurd thoughts. And I know that once I've drifted into absurd thoughts that make no sense, that my mind is starting to calm down and sleep will come soon. I didn't learn this necessarily from anyone except myself and my own experiences as I've been trying to sleep, and knowing that when thoughts turn towards things that aren't necessarily based in reality, that I'm getting closer and closer to a dream world and farther away from the waking reality.
Hey Seth, this is Kay calling in from Queens, New York. Calling in to tell you about my sleep strategy, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, but that's kind of the point of it. So usually when I can't fall asleep, it's because I've woken up in the middle of the night, almost always at like 4 a.m. And what I do is I just close my eyes and kind of tell myself that it's okay if I can't fall asleep. And then I'm just going to lay there and try to rest whether I sleep or not. And I think I heard this tip like, I think it was on Tumblr, but it might have been like on TV or a podcast or something. But it said that there was a study done. I think the study was about tired driving, maybe, but it found that like just laying down and closing your eyes and resting is more effective at helping you kind of get through a task than getting up and doing something. So it's not as maybe not as like good for you as actually sleeping, but just laying there and closing your eyes actually does something for you in terms of rest. So my tip is just lay there and try to rest and kind of negotiate with your brain and try to come to some kind of compromise that allows you to at least rest, if not sleep. And usually when I do this, eventually I'll fall asleep, even if it takes an hour or more. But the important thing is to take the pressure off from actually having to fall asleep, because otherwise I just worry. In addition to whatever I'm worrying about, I worry about sleeping as well. So that's that. I hope that you have a good night's sleep, whoever's listening to this. Bye.
Over the years, I've had a lot of interesting experiences in being able to fall asleep, or the lack thereof, and I have tried a ton of different strategies for the duration of my life. Some are successful and some are a little more comical, but I still try them all. So when I'm having trouble sleeping, back when I was in high school, I used to listen to classical music or like forest sounds. Those were some of my favorites. I would rock some Enya. She was always a favorite of mine to try and help fall asleep, and I found that listening to music where there were no words was often really helpful for me, because otherwise I would get caught up in the lyrics. So I started with that, and then as I got a little older, I would switch to sleeping with the television on, but I could only put something on that I was not really interested in. So I've watched Friends for, like a million years, and I've seen episodes over and over and over again, and so I will oftentimes watch Friends to go to bed because I already know the storyline, and so it's not going to keep me awake. Let's see, another, I think a common one that some people do is take melatonin. I've definitely done that too, so use a little herbal remedy to help with that. I've also, on rare occasions, I'll take like a Tylenol PM, but I prefer not to do that because it makes me feel groggy in the morning, so that is only under like dire circumstances. Sometimes I will do some yoga or stretching. Like if I've been trying to fall asleep and it's not working, sometimes I'll just get out of bed and I'll stretch for a little bit. Let's see, using my phone and trying to read or go on Facebook or things like that is usually not very helpful, and having that bright light kind of like keeps you awake and jars you, I find, so I don't think that that's as helpful of a strategy for me. And then kind of a strange one is sometimes I just like switch my position in the bed. So like I'll put my head where my feet usually go and put my feet where my head goes, and sometimes just changing my position will trick me into being able to fall asleep. It's a little hard when you sleep with someone else in the bed to do that. But that has ironically really helped me. I have no idea where I learned that from, but that was something that I do on occasion. And then of course, sometimes I literally just get up and go and sleep somewhere else. Like we have this huge beanbag chair, and so sometimes I'll sleep in that, or I'll sleep on the couch. So those are some of the different strategies that I use. Some are more effective than others. I think that some started off because that's what my parents did. Like my mom always used to fall asleep listening to like Enya or music, and so I learned that one from her. And then the other ones I've just picked up along the way. I've had coworkers who really, ascribe to nighttime yoga rituals, and so I've tried that because of them. I'm usually pretty open and willing to trying different types of approaches. I'm pretty much the type of person who will try almost anything once. So I hope that some of these are helpful for you as you work on your back to sleep strategies.
When I'm having trouble sleeping, I usually do a couple of different things, either being focused on my breathing or having some kind of noise in the background. As long as I don't have to pay attention to it, usually music or even a video that I've watched 100 times. I don't know where I really learned it from, but if I had to say one person, I'd say it'd be from my parents.
When I try to fall asleep, or I should say, when I can't fall asleep, I often don't know what to do. I take out my phone, I'll read through my news stories, and promptly get depressed. But one thing that always puts me to sleep is whenever one of my animals finally decides to curl up next to me, and I can focus on their breathing and match theirs. And generally, they'll put me to sleep in no time.
So when I can't sleep, one thing that I do to put myself to bed is breathe deeply in and out through my nose, and I do this visualization where the air is swirling around in my empty skull and flowing back out empty, and that my brain is just completely empty, and that often will help me to fall asleep. And if you want to attribute it, this is Amy in Mott Haven.
Contrary to popular belief, I am not an insomniac. I just don't need very much sleep. I point, several years ago when they became popular, I bought a fitness tracker and it had a sleep tracking function on it. And I thought this was interesting, and so I started to watch it because, sleep was an issue. And I realized that no matter what, I needed about maybe 6 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep every night. So if I went to bed at midnight, I'd wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning. If I went to bed at 10 o'clock, I'd wake up at 4 in the morning. This is great when I came to this, because I stopped worrying. I didn't wake up at 2 in the morning and think that I was just gonna have my whole day ruined anymore. I got up at 2 in the morning and I would either do something or not do anything and just kind of enjoy the quiet time to lay there.